Hey, welcome back to my reaction channel. This is Bob Proctor. If you've never heard of Bob Proctor, he's all about making money, but in a quantum realm type of way. And the more I study spirituality and the way I was introduced into the world by my beautiful mother, who has now passed away, she goes, if you can taste it, touch it, smell it, breathe it, and make it so real in your mind, you can manifest it into your reality. And there's a lot of truth in that when you think about some of the great leaders in neuroscience, Joe Dispenza, how he talks about how you rehearse the future. And there's people like Andrew Tate who identify with an arch nemesis, which is a future version of himself that is unstoppable, unbeatable, absolutely great. And he shadows in comparison to that person. And that's a person he identifies with. So instead of identifying with like all of his reasons why he never gets out and trains or never gets out and hustles, because he knows that he doesn't work from who he is, he works from who he wants to be. And so there's a lot of people that are very successful in life that preach this type of information. And so this is how to turn your yearly income into your monthly income. And we live in a reality where you have to pay. You have to pay for things. You have to pay your rent, to pay your utility, electricity bills, your cell phone bill, your internet. You know, there's things that we have to do to survive in today's modern world. We had to do these things irregardless for food and shelter. You know, we had to kind of source our own materials. But my point is I think there's something we can learn from here. And I think that if you're not interested in a video like this, I wouldn't pass it up. I wouldn't have a money blueprint that money is evil. And you're evil for wanting it or chasing it or having it or attracting it. And I think we need to realize that the world has infinite abundance. And I truly believe there's enough to go around for everyone. And maybe that's naivete speaking, but I don't really think so. And I don't think Bob Proctor thinks so either. So let's watch this video. I'm going to allow him to speak a lot. And then I'll chime in from time to time and see how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking. Thanks for being here.
Hello there and welcome. I'm Bob Proctor. I'm going to talk to you about a subject that literally changed the course of my life.
How to turn your yearly income into monthly income. So what you make in a year, he's saying you can make in a month. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that?
It's a subject not many people understand, but those who do sure live a lot better than the ones who don't. You know, a Spanish distiller one time said, "The good life's expensive. There's another way to live that doesn't cost as much, but it isn't any good."
That's his book, Think and Grow Rich, which he's had for like 40 years or something like that. It was written by Napoleon Hill, and I still have yet to actually read it. Maybe I should.
Well, a lot of what he said is true. Many years ago, a man gave me this book, Think and Grow Rich. I was flat broke. I had always been flat broke. I had never had any money. I was 26 years old. I had 2 months high school and no business experience. He said, "Bob, you read this, do exactly what I tell you, you can have anything you want." Now, I really didn't believe that, but I believed he believed it.
What if we all just worked in that framework? Hey, you can have anything that you want. Write it down, write it down, write it down, and obsess over it. Find it, figure it out, but mentally, energetically first. Work within the quantum realm. Rehearse who you are already having and obtaining it. When you fall asleep every night, feel it not just in your mind, in your intellect, but in your imagination, and then merge that with your actual feelings in your body. What does it feel like to already possess it, to have it, to be it, how you would be differently? We tend to, again, operate in a DMN, a default mode network, a certain set of parameters, thoughts, 60, 80,000 thoughts that you think on a daily recurring repetitive basis is your default mode network, which I call your personal matrix. And 90% of those thoughts are the same. That's scientifically shown. So if we think about something beyond our current DMN, don't you think that we can reprogram ourselves to potentially see the world a bit differently in a different lens and see the things that can point us towards that endeavor? I believe so.
And I said, all I want is some money. I figured if I had enough money, all my problems would go away. See, I was earning $4,000 a year, but I owed $6,000. If I had paid every cent I owned or earned in 18 months, I would have just broken even. So I really didn't think I was going to be able to change that. Do you know, within a year, I was earning $15,000 a month. I went from $4,000 a year to $15,000 a month within a year. Now, I
That's
haven't got
crazy.
that much smarter. You don't have to be very smart to earn money, but you do have to understand some basic rules. And that's what I want to talk to you about. You'll notice here where we put money up on the screen, there's a young lady there and myself. She is my business partner. And I'm going to tell you, if I ever met anyone that understands money, this lady sure does. Sandy Gallagher is an absolutely brilliant woman. She was a securities attorney when I met her, had been in the banking business, in the law side of it, for 20 years. And she had done $100 billion in business. Now, I found that out by asking her. I said, how much did you do? She said, 100 billion. I thought, you mean 100 million? She said, no, 100 billion. Now, if you consider it, she was turning banks public. She was buying banks, selling banks, merging banks. So she was dealing in a lot of money all the time. And I thought, that's the kind of person I want to work with. Well, she is my business partner today and has been for the past 10 years. She's absolutely brilliant when it comes to money. Well, that's what I'm going to talk to you about. And that's what I want you to think about. You see, the truth is, you can earn as much every month.
Show me, Bob. Show me. Don't talk about it. Show me.
We can show you how to turn your annual income into a monthly income. Now, that may sound like a gross exaggeration, but it is really not. It's the way it happens. Now, here's something that I read in this book when I first started to study it, and I first started to earn some money. It was by Napoleon Hill, and it's called Big Money. Listen very carefully, because when this is done, I'm going to show you how you can execute this. Napoleon Hill said, when money comes in quantities known as the big money, it flows to the one who accumulates it as easily as water flows downhill. Now, he says there exists a great stream of power, which can be compared to a river, except that one side flows in one direction, carrying all who get into that side of the stream onward and upward to wealth.
This is interesting that we're using wealth, but also in the spiritual teachers that I've been listening to, I would say that they talk about a stream of life. That is actually what I think we do is we turn off that valve and we just receive drips of this juiciness and aliveness and rawness of life. And so we're half alive because we're not even remotely understanding how much we're going against the current because we're stuck in our ego, fearful and afraid of life itself, and we're paralyzed, and we've shut ourselves down to try to control life. And so what is our framework with money? What did you grow up thinking about money? Did you think that, me coming from a very poor family that was on welfare, single parent, that money's really hard to get. Money's really hard to come by. Money is also, people who have money, they're greedy. They're not good people. Like these are filters that I saw the world in a certain lens. And so I've cut myself away from probably more success than I could have because of those filters. And so just like my spiritual filters, I'm trying to unlock things in me that allow me to have that more flow in life, in that full-on valve of juiciness in my life. And I want to do this with attracting money as well.
And the other side flows in the opposite direction, carrying all who are unfortunate enough to get into that side and not able to extricate themselves from it, downward to misery and poverty. Now, he said every person who has accumulated a great fortune has recognized the existence of this stream of life. It consists of one's thinking process. The positive emotions of thought form the side of the stream which carries one to fortune. The negative emotions form the side which carries one down to poverty. Now, he said this carries a thought of stupendous importance to the person who is following what we're talking about here with the object of accumulating a fortune. If you are on the side of the stream of power which leads to poverty, this may serve as an oar by which you may propel yourself to the other side of the stream. It can serve you only through application and use. Merely reading and passing judgment on it either one way or another will in no way benefit you. Now, he says poverty and riches often change places. Poverty may, and generally does, voluntarily take the place of riches. But when riches take the place of poverty, the change is usually brought about through well-conceived and carefully executed plans.
Woohoo!
Poverty needs no plan. It needs no one to aid it because it is bold and ruthless. Riches are shy and timid. They have to be attracted.
Beautiful. They have to be attracted. A lot of times, and let's think about money, and also let's think about life. A lot of us don't have big goals because we feel like we could never reach big goals. So we just kind of block it out, the possibility of it. And so we never set up an action plan, set up our whole life fundamentally around orienting around one big goal, one big chief aim, because we feel it's impossible. We also feel like we can't get rich because it feels absolutely impossible. It's not, the system's not set up for us. And so we never aim for it. We never even put all of our marbles into it. Because one, we're scared of failure, so we don't even try. And then when we deeply fundamentally in our own truth, our own personal matrix, feel that we can't be uberly successful. And again, money's not going to cure all your problems. It's not going to make you any happier, I promise you. But what it will do is it will maybe show you the abundance that life has to offer. And if we work in that mental pattern, in that world lens, perhaps it can open you up into other venues of also finding more freedom and abundance within your own emotional body, your own spiritual body, etc. And if you could upgrade the quality of your finances, it could be a stimulus to upgrade the quality of your inner realm as well, and just your existence here on earth.
Of course, we talked about that in The Secret. You've got to attract it. Well, I think you're going to enjoy this. First of all, money has to be earned.
The law of
compensation. And there is a law that governs this whole universe. Everything operates by a law. Well, Emerson wrote beautifully, Ralph Waldo Emerson, on the law of compensation. And the law of compensation is exact. The law of compensation clearly states the amount of money you earn will be in exact ratio to these 3 points. Number one, the need for what you do. The need for what you do. Number two, your ability to do it. And number three, the difficulty there will be in replacing you. Now think of that. Number one, the need for what you do. Number two, your ability to do it. And number three, the difficulty there is in replacing you. Now, odds are pretty good. The need for what you do is already there. You don't have to do anything about that. Number three will be taken care of if you take care of number two. You may want to think about this for a little while. I thought about it for a long while, and I realized it's pretty true. So you see, you only have to focus on one of those 3 points, and that is number two, your ability to do it. Whatever you're doing, you want to get better at it. Just keep working.
Just keep working, baby.
Better at what you're doing, and there is
a lot of I think today's modern culture is we do what we feel, not what we must do. We always base it on our feelings, and if we always just listen to our feelings, remember we have a large ego that tells us how inadequate we are. And our feelings usually are trying to feed that ego and protect that ego, which is comfort. And the ego doesn't really want to grow or take risks. And growth it requires courage and bravery. It requires getting out of your normal mode of being and upgrading. And that's a scary place because then you have to get uncomfortable and try and do new things. So there's always a resistance to growth. Even though it's better for us, even though you could be living a 10x more rich life. Not just the work required into actually applying yourself, but the mental labor required to overcome your limited self is the biggest hurdle of them all, I believe.
In any competition, you're the only competition you're ever going to have. Master whatever you do. Master it. Now, I want you...
So then we have to absolutely show up and do what we must do every single day. I didn't feel like recording a video today. I didn't want to do it at all. There was no bone in my body that wanted to do it. But I knew, you know what? If I want to be who I want to be, if I want to be successful on YouTube, I got to do the work no matter how I feel. If I had a job and I had an employer, why would I give him more of myself by not using my feelings as an excuse to not want to show up to work, and knowing that I'm required to show up to work no matter how I feel? And then when I get there, I have to have a really positive attitude and have my A game on and show up and do the work required. It doesn't matter how I feel. Just like when I was doing competitive collegiate athletics, no matter if I felt like going to practice or not, I had to go to practice. And then I couldn't just half-ass it. I had to literally give it my all. So somewhere along the lines of the comfort lives, the soft times that we live in, we don't do that anymore. We just show up to work and do the bare minimum that's going to get the job done, but we don't really seek to do more than that. And the only way to grow is to put a forge into the fire and iron and mold and bend yourself even when you don't feel like it. And a lot of times it's going to feel difficult because that's what growth is. You're growing out of the old you and into the new you. It's very uncomfortable. No one wants to do it. But I'm telling you, it's worth doing it. That's what life requires. And it's a beautiful thing. If you want to have a beautiful superhero body, there's a pain requirement and a time requirements that's commanded. And this is for anything that you build or master. And we want to become a master of our craft, a master of our skill.
I want you to think of this. There are only 3 strategies for earning money. Just 3 strategies. Pay close attention. It's M1, M2, and M3. Now, before I start into them, here's something you want to burn into your mind. If you don't teach your children how to earn money, odds are pretty good they're not going to learn. School does not teach us how to earn money. You can go all the way through school. You can go to Harvard, Oxford, Stanford. Won't matter. They do not teach you how to earn it. They'll teach you how to invest it. They'll teach you how to store it. They'll teach you how to count it, but they do not teach you how to earn it. Now, there's 3 strategies. If you're going to teach your children, you teach them number 3. But let's start with number 1. Number 1 strategy is used by 96% of the population, and it won't work. It never has worked. This is where you trade your time for money. You see, this strategy has an inherent problem. It's called saturation. You run out of time. I don't care how effective you are. I don't care how much you earn an hour.
And this is what our education system teaches, right? It teaches to get a degree and you're going to trade your time for your money. And that's what 96% of apparently our population does, that they exchange time for money. That's what we're conditioned and told to do. I mean, that's the normal route. And so anything outside of that, unless there's a lot more risk. And if you didn't have a family that was more entrepreneurial, you probably took the safe employment route. Not to say that this is wrong, but it's not going to effectively allow you to have high income.
You're going to run out of time. You're trading your time for money. It doesn't work. It does not work. Number 2 is an excellent strategy, but it's only used by 3% of the population. Number 2 is where you invest money to earn money. Now, people in the number 1 strategy, they hear about this, and so they squirrel a little bit of what they're earning away and they invest it, but they don't understand how to invest it, and they usually lose it. If you're going to invest money, you really got to know what you're doing, or go to somebody that...
That's very true. I mean, it's more common today for anyone, for people to enter the stock market. And it's easier than ever today with all the mobile apps and it's pretty seamless, right? But at the end of the day, most of us have training wheels when it comes to investment strategy. So how do you get good at investment strategy? Well, you have to do years of study to understand how investments work. This stuff isn't handed to us. Now, if you had a parental figure that already mastered this, then you grew up adopting that framework and you're blessed. But the majority of us, apparently, 96%, will never have that education. We'll never have that parental figure who figured it out and figured out how to figure out what stocks or index funds or strategies we need to use in the market, what percent of our income. Do we live way below our means and then invest the bulk of our income into investments, or do we do what most people do, which is our overhead is so much because we stretch so thin because we do want to have the nice things, but we're sacrificing our future for things that we really can't afford that are out on loan, a high mortgage, a ridiculous new car payment, and we don't have the money to invest because no one taught us that strategy. So again, this channel is all about helping us build ourselves in every single conceivable category. Finances are no different.
It has proved that they know what they're doing. Number 3 is where you invest money to earn money. Now, the first 2 strategies are not the one you want to focus on. Here's the one you want to focus on, number 3. It's only used by approximately 1 person out of 100. This is where this group earns almost all the money. 96% of all the money that's earned goes to a very small select group of people. And I'm going to tell you something. I used to think they were really smart. Some of them aren't very smart. I was earning over $1 million a year, and I started to analyze what the heck was I doing.
What were you doing, Bob? What were you doing?
I had stumbled on M3. I didn't know
what's M3, Bob.
I was doing it. I had been raised to believe if you're going to earn a lot of money, you got to be really smart. I knew I wasn't that smart, but I was earning a fair amount of money. M3 is used by 1% of the population, but they are 96% of all the money. These people multiply their time by setting up multiple sources of income.
Multiple streams of income. Awesome. So M3 is multiple streams of income. Awesome. Now we understand that. Let's figure it out in more depth.
Now that's the strategy. How do you set up multiple sources of income? Well, some people get that mixed up with multiple jobs. That's not multiple jobs. It's multiple sources of income. The truth is, you can set up sources of income where you're earning money while you're sleeping. And it's never been easier than it is today. With the internet and with the way we're working, man, you can make it happen. So here we are back again. What we want to do is show you how to turn your annual income into a monthly income. Now pay attention, because this is super important. It's very, very important. This can be accomplished by having multiple sources of income. You check back in history, you're going to find all wealthy people have always had multiple sources of income. They didn't have one, they had all kinds of different sources of income. I'm not quite sure how many I've got. I don't even look after them. I have somebody else look after them.
All right, so we have real estate, we have investments, we have trading time for money. Maybe it's a consultation business. Maybe your day job's a real estate agent. I mean, those are some things I can think of. If you're more entrepreneurial, maybe you have physical products, subscriptions, memberships, courses. Maybe you have sponsorships, stuff like that. So those are all multiple streams of income, just off the top of my head. Yeah.
Sandy's got a team of people, my business partner, that looks after our sources of income. Now keep stand here. Listen to what we're saying. Our world is changing. Make no mistake about it. Do you know Alvin Toffler wrote a book way back around 1970 called Future Shock, and he talked about the changes that were coming. Well, I was shocked. You know, Alvin Toffler wrote a book way back around 1970 called Future Shock, and he talked about the changes that were coming. Well, I was working with Earl Nightingale and Lloyd Conant in 1970, and that was a very popular book around the Nightingale Conant Corporation. We were all studying it, and we were laughing at some of the predictions. We'll say this could never possibly happen. Well, move ahead to 40 or 50 years, Toffler fell short. He didn't predict it big enough. Now, he just passed away here a while ago, but he said something before he died that maybe you should remember. He said the illiterate of the 21st century will not be the people who cannot read and write. They're going to be the people who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Most of what we've learned up to this point, we're going to have to unlearn, and then we're going to have to learn some new rules.
So it sounds like one of the best attributes you can have to be staying relevant to the rampant technology and how it's growing exponentially is to learn and master new fields of study, because 10 years from now, there's going to be new fields of study that have never existed before. Look at AI right now. Look at AI generation, something that I'm really interested in, AI video generation. So I'm taking a significant time investment into AI video generation because I feel that, I don't know, it's just something I'm really interested in, but I also feel like there's a way to, well, one, you can become an expert and create content for people, but you can also use it for yourself in just a multitude of different ways. So my point is that in today's modern culture, getting a degree is great. Don't have one. Was valedictorian in my high school, and after a year and a half of college, I was like, I don't want to do this because, one, I don't know what I want to study and if I want to do that my whole life. So I've curated basically a buffet of experiences and a lot of different career fields and niches that has orchestrated a certain type of way that I can create. And I've always had self-education. I've always been this guy, just like you see on this channel, who is putting significant time investing into new knowledge and information. You can see that just through the 6 weeks that I've done on this channel. Now, let me make a broader point here, but still very personal, specific. Yeah, I'm not successful like Bob Proctor by any means. I wouldn't say I'm financially successful more than the average bear. But what I will say is Steve Jobs, when he was in college, one of the best courses that he took that he found out later was calligraphy. That class, for some reason, the way that he had to learn calligraphy and how it always orchestrated in every edge of the stroke of the whatever mattered. And that brought a certain aesthetic and a precision in every product that he designed, from the packaging to the internal to the external. It had a beautifulness to it because of that calligraphy course. That was an elective. So my point is like, even if you're into like a passion hobby, if it's dance or music or AI or something that's completely unrelated to what you're doing today, there's a good chance that that will help you along your path. So I feel like that deep down, we know at our gut level what excites us, what turns us on, what makes us feel fully alive, which gives us pure positive energy and being around and submerging ourselves in. It will help you later on. Don't negate it. You want to tap into those things that turn you on.
Rules. Now, I am unlearning and learning all the time. And I'll tell you something I've learned. Our world is changing. It is not getting bigger. The world is getting smaller. It is shrinking. And here's something else. This is very important. You can have business all over the world through multiple sources of income.
You know, that's very true. You know, you can do a TikTok and have 1 million views. And these are people who are scattered clear across the globe. Even on my YouTube channel here, with the 100,000 views that I've gotten in the last 6 weeks, they're all over. Much of it's international viewership, which is amazing. A huge country that watches me right now is India. I get like 30 to 40% of my views just from that country alone. So, you know, the world is changing. You can touch lives no matter where you go. And one thing that I think in today's entrepreneurship marketplace is you need to really think about less about what I think you need to focus on is your energy, your core. What do you provide to another person just by being exactly who you are? Your energy. Can your energy heal others? Can your energy be medicine for others? And if so, what can you do with your skill sets that you've learned, that buffet of experience? And can you somehow create a product where you've assimilated the information in a struggle point that someone's going through? You know, there's a lot of kind of core. So let's speak of multiple streams of income. I'm going to end this video here because we know the secret. M3 is multiple streams of income. And maybe we'll watch the rest of this, and I'll finish up on kind of some of my thought processes on how that might look for an entrepreneur or YouTube content creator.
Come. Here's the question you want to ask. How much do you want? How much do you want? Because you can set up sources of income all over the place. Now, I do have multiple sources of income. Our company's structured that way. We train consultants in our business to teach what we teach. They have multiple sources of income. If I were starting over today, I would probably go into network marketing because it is probably the easiest way to set up multiple sources of income. Now, the fact is that most...
I've been in network marketing, especially in my early 20s, and it was incredible for the personal development, networking, and learning sales, and building a community and a team. I really loved it, and I became kind of successful at it rather quickly. And so I had my upline fly me out to Vegas for a convention when I was like 18 or 19 years old, and I had never flown in my life. And so this was like crazy to me that people would be willing to fork up that bill to get me out there to learn things, to meet people. And it was an incredible experience. It's not what I would do today because I think I'm bright enough to I don't know, network marketing is good. I mean, I think about it now, it's like, there's just so many great people that are part of that culture. And, you could just get back into it, network, and, maybe use those networks later on when you do have a great product or service that you can pitch to all those people that you met throughout that pipeline. But yeah, so, multiple streams of income, I believe anyone can have. Anyone can start a YouTube channel. I mean, we see people who are mowing lawns and just recording it, and people watch it for 30 minutes because, I don't know, it's therapeutic. People just like watching stuff like that. You all have a passion. You all have a hobby inside. And guess what? Your work's going to suck for a really long time. My work still sucks. 2 years from now, I will be in a whole different place with AI video generation. I can apply in my videos. I'll learn the YouTube algorithm. I'll learn what people are interested in. I'll learn how to hook people's attention better. I'll have actual products, courses, services, and programs that people can go to. They're like, wow, I got all this great value from one video from him. What if I buy his course? There's, subscriptions on YouTube now. There's subscriptions on almost any social media platform. You can have ebooks that you write. You can have merch. I'm going to be coming out with my own gym merch eventually soon too. You can have physical products beyond that. I'm also getting recertified as a personal trainer, so that way I can build better systems of management. I'm using some other business training for business sales, personal training courses on how to build an online personal training business. Big into this being our temple, and that this is the direct connection to how we interpret life. And so we want it to be fundamentally in the best possible shape possible. And so that is taking care of the physical body is the same requirement as taking care of yourself emotionally, financially. But in our culture, American culture, 70% of the population is overweight. And that's insane to me. And so a lot of us don't have the same discipline to take care of our bodies. And those are things that a lot of people wish they could do, but they don't have the right, self-concept to want to stop with some of the bad behaviors and modify it to have a healthier lifestyle. So there's tons of people who are looking for a solution, a real solution. And if I create a great product and program that actually helps people get that weight off and literally can teach them at the end of the day that I'm no different than you and you can look exactly like a superhero if you want to too. Like what if you did help people reach those milestones of epic physiques? And you ask well, that's really not that important. Well, actually, it's fundamentally important. You have no idea the confidence you build when you've done that transformation. Transmuting your physical body is a spiritual process in my mind. So there's an intrinsic, deep, fulfilling value from this. You overcame a mountain, and that success story will catapult in every other category of your life. It could actually transform your entire life, not just you physically. So there's intrinsic value in taking care of your health. You also want to you have the best biochemistry in your body. You know, these minds are weird, and the foods that we eat, you know, it can definitely cause different chemical reactions that make us feel more depressed, more lethargic, more lazy, more sloppy. And like, we can't be at our best if we're in a constant state of laziness or like no brain fog. So those are some of the things that I'm thinking about, multiple streams of income. But the thing is like, it's hard. It's hard to like design and outline and create and orchestrate all this stuff. There's years of prep work that you have to do to understand the systems, the back end systems, and all this stuff. But most of it's just because I haven't put in the time to do it. I haven't put in the time to again, master online entrepreneurship. So those are my plans. Those are my strategies for 2025. And I told you about AI generation. That's something that's really intriguing to me, and something I'm going to spend a significant time investment in this upcoming year. And also, I'm going to finally get my psychology undergraduate degree. It's just something that I've always wanted to have. So I'm going to fulfill that, and then I'll find out what I want to do afterwards. If I want to do a master's program, go to law school. I have no idea what I want to do. If there's something like that interests me, or become an actual clinical psychologist, because I want to talk more about mindset from an expert's vantage point. And I want to also be able to help clients through their mental hurdles and all that fun stuff. So I don't know, but I got to take the first step. I don't have to figure it out today. First step is like, get on YouTube and start creating content that you just are interested in solely yourself, Cody, and you'll attract the audience that's also interested in those things. Something that you're interested in, there's going to be other people that are. It doesn't matter how stupid it is. Personal development, like a lot of people I know in my personal life do not watch it, do not care. Or this would be the most boring thing to them. Yet I've gotten 100,000 views in 6 weeks. So there's obviously, so just build it. And then, the next steps will arise, but we got to get the momentum started. So anyway, I hope this video has helped you maybe retool or make you think of how can you set up multiple streams of income, become part of that M3 percentile, and hopefully move the needle financially for yourself, or, inspire you to like get out of your comfort zone, try new things. Think about how you can monetize your talents. Again, TikTok, YouTube, anyone can build an audience. You just got to get over being judged and being afraid. Just know that when you get back into the public arena, there's going to be a lot of naysayers, a lot of criticizers, a lot of people who are very unhappy with themselves that just want to put you down too, because you're trying to make something of yourself. It's going to happen. But the more you do it, the more you realize there's more positivity than negativity. And those negative voices where like in the beginning, you're like, oh God, you just don't care anymore, because you know that most people are suffering who are negative anyway. Most people are suffering or negative anyway. And so you just have a bit more compassion, empathy, and you don't take it personally what people say. Anyway, I hope this video helped you. I love you guys. Look forward to hearing your comments about Bob Proctor. And if you like this reaction video, maybe we can do some more. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.